cornfields, always imposing, always highly ranked, but destined, it is seen, for disappointment. He has these winters in his blood, the native son who never left, who in another time was twice the state's athlete of the year, a marvel who competed for his small hometown college. Tom Osborne, 22 seasons, 218 victories, 11 conference titles, but still bearing with serene dignity the January memories. Memories of hot, humid nights in Miami, when it was all or nothing, in a stadium a long, long way from home.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska.
In 1984, there was honor in defeat. 10 years later, redemption was just one play away.
45 yards to get Cinderella, Nebraska the national championship. And he hooked it left. What a big win.
And though decades of success have been somehow diminished by a series of New Year's failings, the resolve remains. And now, even beyond the heartland, you sense he is, for most, the sentimental choice.
I don't think there's any room for compassion. I mean, we're playing a football game, and if he wasn't playing us for the national championship, I'd root for him.
To Tom Osborne, this is a familiar face of January, the face of another fierce Miami team, at home in the Orange Bowl, and prepared to deny the Cornhuskers a national title. Or is this finally the night when Nebraska's proud native son brings to an end his long New Year's nightmare? You might call it hurricane weather. Tonight, in their home stadium, the Orange Bowl, where they have won 62 of their last 63 games. The number 3 Miami Hurricanes beat number 1 and undefeated Nebraska, seeking to become college football's national champions. It's another sellout of 78,000 for this 61st Orange Bowl game. And although the Nebraska Cornhuskers may have one of their finest teams ever, and though you'll see plenty of Nebraska supporters clad in red tonight, this is still their formidable task. To win here, in this Miami sound machine, where the Hurricanes have lost only once since 1985, and but for a single bad quarter against Washington back in September, the Hurricanes would themselves be undefeated and poised to win their 5th national title in 12 seasons. As it is, Miami does have a slim chance to win the title, but the Canes must beat the Cornhuskers tonight and hope that somehow number 2 Penn State loses to Oregon in tomorrow's Rose Bowl. Only Nebraska can get by without any help. If they win tonight, they're the champs, no matter what happens anywhere else. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Costas. Happy New Year to you. These are the trophies signifying an Orange Bowl victory and the national title, both at stake tonight. Nebraska is seeking its first national title since the Johnny Rodgers team of 1971, and the first in Tom Osborne's 22-year tenure, an otherwise magnificent tenure diminished by New Year's Day and night setbacks. Osborne's teams have now lost 7 straight bowl games, including the last 3 Orange Bowls, and tonight the opponent is Miami at home. Miami 3-0 against Nebraska in the Orange Bowl. To get it done, Nebraska's Osborne has reinstalled Tommy Frazier as his starting quarterback. The option specialist began the year as a Heisman candidate, but he hasn't played since September 24th, stricken with blood clots in his right leg. The decision to start Frazier over Brooke Berringer, who played well in Frazier's absence, has already been second-guessed. But Tom Osborne has long since become accustomed to the scrutiny and criticism that comes with the territory. 22 seasons of excellence, icon status in his home state, yet he has never made himself larger than his team. Guarded, stoic, We probably know Tom Osborne best, not from his words, but from a moment, a defining moment, the 1984 Orange Bowl.
Look at this play, just hit it. Touchdown, Nebraska!
Choosing victory over a tie, attempting a two-point conversion. His boldness cost him the national title. And now, perhaps another defining moment. This week, choosing Tommy Frazier as his starting quarterback.
Find any irony in the fact that it's easy to label you as conservative, but you're the guy who went for two when a tie assured you of the national championship. You're the guy who's rolling the dice now with Frazier.
Well, I don't know, Bob. I don't really think in terms of image and those kind of things. I just think in terms of what I feel needs to be done. And nobody wants to focus on who's playing tackle or who's playing safety. And those spots are every bit as critical as quarterback. I'm very comfortable with our quarterbacks. They're going to play okay. I'm a little bit more worried about some other spots.
You know what the long-standing observations or criticisms are. Schedule's not tough enough outside of Oklahoma and in recent years Colorado. Philosophy's too conservative. Run the ball between the tackles, win the Big 8 title, run up against competition you can't handle on New Year's Day. Has any of that been fair?
Oh, I'm sure whatever's fair, whatever people say. I don't care what they say. And all I know is that we've got a certain climate to play in. We have a certain schedule that's usually set 6, 7, 8 years in advance. And we think that in our climactic situation, you've got to be prepared to handle 2 or 3 bad weather days. On the other hand, maybe Miami, if they had to play January 1st in Lincoln or in Omaha, might find that their style wouldn't fit quite as well either.
Here's a quote from a week or so ago in the New York Times. No one ever predicts a derailing loss, but many wonder if it is their destiny. You're a practical man, but have you ever wondered if that's your destiny?
Well, I really never thought that way. We lost Oklahoma the first 5 or 6 times that I think that I was a head coach and played him. But I didn't feel like we were always going to lose to Oklahoma. We just tried to work harder and get better. And we lost pretty badly to Florida State a couple times and Miami a couple times. And we worked hard and we got better. And I think last year we played well enough to win.
I asked Bobby Bowden this a year ago, and he tried to put it in perspective. He said the world wouldn't end. But when I asked him, would your resume be incomplete if you never got a national championship? He said yes. How about you?
Well, I don't think so. I think in the eyes of a lot of people, that would be the case. But I really don't tend to measure success or whatever I've accomplished or haven't accomplished in football so much in wins and losses. I think when you die, they always say, well, he won so many, he lost so many, he won so many national championships, or he didn't. And yet I think that's kind of a hollow way to look at it.
You feel a kinship at all with guys like Marv Levy, Bud Grant? Great coaches. Grant's in the Hall of Fame. Levy's probably going there. Did everything but win the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Similar position to, at least at this moment, where you are.
Well, I don't know if I feel a kinship, Bob, but I never cease to be amazed at the mentality that, the Minnesota Vikings were losers or that the Buffalo Bills are losers. It's kind of an interesting commentary on our society. It's kind of like if you're not number one, you're nothing. I mean, to win 12 games, to go through what our players have gone through this year, I admire them greatly. I don't necessarily admire me as a coach. I admire what the players have done in terms of their commitment, their devotion, and their determination to get back down here and to try it again.
In our interview, Osborne also said he supported some form of college football playoff. The present Bowl Coalition and upcoming Bowl Alliance have improved the chances of crowning a true national champ, but they are at best imperfect. This year's top teams being a perfect example, as both Nebraska and Penn State could wind up undefeated and yet never meet on the field. Said Osborne, we've gotten so conscious of payoffs and money, we've almost sold our souls. There should be some way to get it done. Coming up, a tale of 3 quarterbacks. Nebraska's Tommy Frazier is one. He's back as the starter tonight. And then there's backup Brooke Berringer, 7-0 in relief. And the forgotten man in all of this, Miami's Frank Costas. We'll return to the Orange Bowl after this.
Like in there going in now, it might hurt the offensive scheme, but I don't think in our case it will, because we're going to do something different.
We may have different strengths as far as running and throwing football,
but I think we're both capable of running the entire Nebraska offense, and that's all you can ask out of each of us.
The question here isn't competence. It's Osborne's intuition. It was Beringer who guided the Cornhuskers back to the big show. So why entrust the team to a player who hasn't taken a snap in a game since September 24th?
Probably hadn't played in about 9 games, I think. I think he's ready to take on offense like that, is he? After missing 9 games, the option is all timing, so if he's gotten his timing back in the last 2 weeks, then put him in there.
Tommy's been practicing for 2 months. He's just been on blood thinners, so he couldn't have major contact. But as far as being full speed running and executing on offense, he's been doing it all the time. So it isn't like he's rusty or he's stale.
Also, Frazier has been here before. At last year's Orange Bowl, he excelled. 283 yards of total offense against Florida State, as Nebraska came within 2 points of the national title. This year began with legitimate Heisman aspirations for Frazier, but then he was suddenly sidelined by blood clots in his right leg. Still, he stayed in shape, hoping.
All the hard work that I put in, it paid off in no way that I was just out there working hard for nothing. It's like when you have a job and you go work for nothing. That's the way I felt. And you hate to get it this way, but it's been a great opportunity for me to get out and show what I can do and prove my coaches and teammates that I was a capable player.
Capable and gutsy. Beringer played part of this season with a collapsed lung. His reward is now unclear.
I'm not really sure how much difference it's going to make who comes in when or why. Hopefully that everybody will be mentally prepared enough to play that it's really not going to make a whole lot of difference who's in and where and when. I bring is tightness, big play capability, something that I always brought to the offense since I've been started as a freshman.
We come in and play full 3 defense with our covers behind us, and we're going to line up and play ball. It doesn't matter who they stick right there. It doesn't matter to us.
All right, joining us now, our game analyst, Chris Collinsworth. He'll have the call along with Tom Hammond. Agree or disagree with Tom Osborne's decision?
Absolutely agree 100%. You know, Tommy Frazier reminds me of you a little bit. Neither one of you worked that much during football season, but now for the national championship game, it's time for the stars to come out.
You know, an excellent analogy, and on that basis, I am sure the young man will excel.
Thank you very much. But then you have to go back to what happened last year in this Orange Bowl game. Play for play against Charlie Ward. Tommy Frazier was there, was making the plays, and I think he's going to do the same things tonight.
All right, let's get the thoughts of our sideline reporter, John Dockery, who's down there watching the clubs warm up. Doc?
Thank you, Bob. I talked to Tommy Frazier a little while ago, and he said he's absolutely relaxed, focused, feeling no after effects from the blood clot problem. I also talked to the quarterback coach, Turner Gill, from Nebraska, and he said, hey, Frazier will start. He's 100%. He's fine, no problem, but that we would definitely see Brooke Beringer in the first half, probably in the first quarter. That's it from the field, Bob. Back to you.
Thanks, John. Well, it is an unusual situation when you have a Miami game and the focus is not on the Miami quarterback. After all, 5 of the school's recent alumni at the position are now playing in the NFL. Frank Costa is the current starter. He's had a stormy career with the Hurricanes, in part because he's been battered by unreasonable expectations. At Miami, winning and winning big is expected. Last season, after a loss to rival Florida State in Game 5, a large measure of the blame was dumped on the team's junior quarterback. He was ripped on the radio and by Miami's vocal football alumni. Frank Costa wound up being benched, and sophomore Ryan Collins replaced him for the remainder of an unspectacular year. The anger of 1993 is still evident.
But I wasn't real happy with my situation, and wasn't very happy with what happened to me. So, really, there were some negative thoughts towards Coach Erickson, the coaching staff, and the players, and the city of Miami, really, because it seemed like everything was just coming down on me.
Such is the price of failure, real or perceived, and the level of expectation at Miami, where notable predecessors include Jim Kelly and Bernie Kosar, who took the Canes to their first national title, and Vinny Testaverde, the 1986 Heisman Trophy winner.
It'd be nice to be next to the same breath with those guys, because they're great players, but I know all those guys, and they're human beings just like me, and you know, I can't control football. That's something that the opponent's going to do when they're going to group me, however they want to group me. And if you do win a national championship, people are going to respect you. If you don't, then they're going to, you know, bash you apart and rip you apart. You know, this game's going to, you know, tell a lot of where I stand in the history of Miami quarterback.
Although he may not measure up to some of his predecessors at Miami, Costa is still a better passer than either Nebraska's Frazier or Behringer, and he could very well deliver a big game tonight. Now, late yesterday, Tom Osborne injected another element into the Nebraska quarterback debate. Call it the elephant equation. 5 elephants appearing in tonight's halftime show. There are the plodding and pungent pachyderms. Well, they tore up parts of the field in rehearsal on Friday. Osborne, somewhat miffed, said if the elephant tracks were too deep, he might have to play the taller Behringer over Frazier. Of course, if the big fellas leave a calling card or two, then Frazier's agility might prove useful. Back after this.
Here's the layout. I like it.
ProShare Video puts you in touch fast with a Pentium processor inside your PC.
Working at home must be great. Yeah.
The Intel Pentium processor.
That's a porcupine fish. Whoa!
Programs like dangerous creatures make a splash with a Pentium processor inside your PC.
What's a piranha? You don't want to know.
The Intel Pentium processor.
Serenely, it seems, as he awaits the charge onto the field. A magnificent coaching career for him. Only a national title missing from his resume. The Cornhuskers last won the national crown when they did it back-to-back in the early 70s under Bob Devaney. On a neutral field, Nebraska would be the clear favorite, as good as Miami is. Here, they are the slimmest of choices. A point, maybe a point and a half prior to kickoff. Tommy Frazier hasn't played since September 24th. Blood clots in his right leg. He's received medical clearance. Brooks Behringer, as you heard John Dockery say, he will play, may very well play in the first quarter. 7-0 in relief. If he had had a few more passing attempts, he would have qualified for a national ranking in passing efficiency, and he would have ranked as high as 7th. And the Miami Hurricanes lost here to Washington as a result of one bad quarter, the third quarter, back in September, also September 24th, as a matter of fact. That's their only loss on this field since 1985. Dennis Erickson could win his 3rd national title if things break right. It would be his 3rd in a 6-year tenure. He says he's staying. Our Will McDonough says, take seriously the talk that he could be headed to Seattle and the Seahawks. For sure you can believe the talk that we're headed upstairs to the booth. And our announcers, Tom Hammond and Chris Collinsworth. Tom.
All right, thank you, Bob, and Happy New Year, everybody. You know, Chris, we've heard from the coaches, from the quarterbacks, but there's a matchup in this game I think will be crucial to its outcome. It involves the Nebraska offensive line, led by Zach Wiegert, who is the Outland Trophy winner at right tackle. This is a huge line, bigger than some NFL offensive lines, helping the Cornhuskers to the best rushing attack in the nation, 340 yards a game. But they'll be meeting a Miami defense that is the best in college football, giving up just 220 yards total offense a game. And the strength of the Miami defense is right up front in the person of Warren Sapp, the Lombardi Trophy winner. His coach, Dennis Erickson, says he can dominate a game much like Hurricane defensive line greats of the past like Russell Maryland and Cortez Kennedy. And he can be pretty aggressive, too. I thought he was going to come after you when you asked him if Nebraska could run the ball on Miami.
Yeah, when you stood up to run, I think you actually steered him back in his seat. I want to thank you for that. But it's interesting, when we were talking to Zach Wiegert, the great offensive lineman from Nebraska, he said, you know, we just want to play a physical football game with these guys. get our body on them, try and push them around, find out who the better man is. And this is a great team to do it against the Miami Hurricanes. They'll just sit there in that 4-3 defense. They're not going to run. They're not going to hide. It'll be one of those matchups. We'll find out who the better man is.
Now, there's one other unit we haven't mentioned and we should. The Nebraska defense, highly rated, and a different Nebraska defense than we've seen in the past.
Absolutely. This is a defense built around speed, especially at the cornerback position. These guys in the past, especially last year against FSU in that Orange Bowl game, proved that they can go against the very best receivers in the country. And even when they got off the line of scrimmage, Aaron Miles and Tyrone Williams able to stay right with these guys. We expect that same kind of matchup this evening.
And there is a look at Dennis Erickson. He says that he will listen to potential NFL offers after this game. And Tom Osborne, 3 times he has played for a national championship. How many more times will he have the chance? Miami wins the toss, defers to the second half. Nebraska will receive for the national title. Taken at the goal line by Benning. And he's wrestled down at the 15-yard line by Jeffrey Taylor after a 15-yard return. And that Miami defense is pumped up. So Tommy Frazier, ready for his first snap in game conditions in 98 days. 15-yard return. There was a Miami player shaken up, Kevin Brinkworth. First and 10, Nebraska sideline. Backup quarterback, Brooke Behringer. He was disappointed he didn't start the game. Tom Osborne's decision, but he says he knows he'll play and play well. The familiar I formation. The I back is Lawrence Phillips. Phillips, a gain of 5 to the 20-yard line. Let's take a look at the starting offensive lineup now for Nebraska. This could be the best Nebraska offensive line ever in a last-minute switch. Wilkes goes to right guard. All-American Brendan Stein takes over at left guard opposite Warren Sapp. Frazier, MVP last year's Orange Bowl. Phillips rushed for 1,700 yards, third in the nation. Muhammad, the top receiver. Frazier may be changing the play and calls timeout. Is that rustiness on the part of quarterback Tommy Frazier? Some confusion, Chris.
Yeah, Tom, so much emotion to start this game, and for Tommy Frazier, it's almost like the beginning of the season. Here's a guy that has not played since early this ball in the season, about 4 weeks into it. But this is a Nebraska offense that I feel like really has to prove something. That when they played here the last couple of times in the Orange Bowl 6 years ago, they were held to just 3 points and 135 yards of total offense. That's still the lowest total offense that a Tom Osborne team has ever had in his 22 years. 3 years ago in the Orange Bowl against Miami, the Huskers were shut out for the first time in 18 years and only 171 yards, and now in the second lowest output for a Tom Osborne team. So this is a football team, and this is an offense from Nebraska that really has to be able to prove that they can do anything against this Miami defense.
While we have a moment, let's set the starting defensive unit for the Hurricanes. #1 defense in the nation, and Holmes could be the next team defensive star. Sapp has a year of eligibility left, but he could turn pro. Middle linebacker Lewis had 152 tackles, third highest Miami total ever. All-American C.J. Richardson leads the secondary. I don't know if the crowd noise at this end of the stadium might have bothered Nebraska. They practiced here all week with the speaker blaring at full volume, but they had to burn a timeout. Second down play. The upback, Schlesinger, got only a couple of yards before Ray Lewis, the middle linebacker and leading tackler for the Canes, made the stop. It'll bring up third down.
I was talking to Greg McMackin, the defensive coordinator for Miami, just before the ball game, and he said, we are going to force Tommy Frazier to throw the football. We are going to find out if, in fact, he can beat us throwing the football. We're going to line up and play the run on every snap of the ball until he proves he can throw it against us.
3 wide receiver formation on 3rd and 3. Muhammad, Holbein, and Ball, the wide
like Tommy Frazier had a chance to hit Holbein. He tried to throw a line shot to him instead of just letting a little air under it so that Holbein could run underneath it. At least so far, Greg McMackin's strategy is paying off. First down, second down runs, try and throw it on third down.
That's Jamie German awaiting the Darren Erstad punt. End over end, and not a very high kick. Takes a bounce and is down at about the 42-yard line. Only a 36-yard punt. Excellent field position for the Hurricanes on their first possession. So Frank Costa getting some last-minute instructions before he leaves this Hurricane offensive unit. We're not used to the offensive unit of the Hurricanes being inconsistent as this one has been, but they are capable of some big numbers. First down, spot the ball at the Miami 42. First possession for the Canes, scoreless first quarter. Costa straight back, first down pass, incomplete, short hop. His intended receiver, Jonathan Harris. The pass is incomplete. Intended for Harris. So Costa perhaps a little jittery. Nebraska.
And there really was the key matchup, Tom. Jonathan Harris, they feel like they don't have any safety on the Nebraska defense that can cover Jonathan Harris. They have fine corners on the outside, but Miami really feels that if they can get Jonathan Harris matched up on Beeland or Ed Stewart or one of the linebackers, they'll win that battle every time.
Three wide receiver formation, 2nd and 10. Hand off to Stewart. James Stewart crosses the 45 to about the 47-yard line, where he is stopped by Beeland. Miami lines up this way offensively. That offensive line keyed by unanimous all Big East center Casey Jones. The line positions vary according to formation. Weak side away from the tight end, strong side with the tight end. Costa passed for 2,400 yards this season. Stewart, the top rusher. Chris T. Jones, leading receiver. It's a 5 wide receiver formation here. This is a situation Nebraska in the past has shown blitz. From the gun. Costa's pass complete to Allison. Knocked out of bounds in Nebraska territory at the 43 by linebacker Ed Stewart. There's that running back on linebacker matchup again. Good for 9 yards.
Anytime you're trying to play safeties and outside linebackers against wide receivers, a very difficult matchup. Ed Stewart is an outside linebacker. Now, he's a former defensive back. They feel like that they can cover people inside, but one of the reasons that Stewart was moved to linebacker was his inability to play man-to-man coverage. He is going to be under the gun all night tonight.
First down, Miami. By Chris T. Jones for a gain of about 7 yards before Barron. Keep it on the ground to Larry Jones, who's making an appearance in the Miami backfield, his first carry. Let's go to John Dockery.
Hey, Tom, you've been talking about Miami quarterbacks. How about this man, decade of champions, Bernie Kosar? I know when Frank Costa was in his down period last year, you had a conversation with him. Can you share that with us?
Well, Frank's had actually an excellent career at UM, and he's taken a little bit of flack, and he got down for a little bit, but I've been friends with him for a few years, and he's an excellent quarterback, and there's a lot that he has to live up to being a quarterback at the University of Miami. I think he's done a great job with it.
What advice do you give him when he was feeling all that pressure and he lost his starting job?
Well, all I really told him was just have confidence in yourself, and, don't down, because your time will come again. He's done a great job with it this year.
And his time has come again. Thank you, Bernie.
Here's Costa trying to set up the screen. It's well covered by Nebraska. Momentum. Let's go to John Dockery.
Coach, can you give us your overview of the first half?
Well, the bottom line, we got too many penalties. We're making too many mistakes. We're moving the ball up and down the field, playing great defense, and we make penalties and put ourselves in bad field position. And we got all the penalties. They don't have any. That's the difference in the first half.
Did the team just lose some concentration? You started off so high.
I had the answer. We wouldn't do it, John.
Okay, Tom, back up to you, Tom.
All right, John Dockery, Miami, the momentum early. Nebraska got back into it. And I wonder if Joe Paterno is an interested viewer here with the second half yet to come. At the end of the first half, Miami leading Nebraska in the FedEx Orange Bowl 10-7 for halftime. Let's go to Bob Costas. Bob?
Boy, Tom, you can bet Joe Paterno, Kijana Carter, Kerry Collins, all the Nittany Lions, very interested observers. These are the two best teams, Miami and Nebraska, defensively in terms of points allowed in the country. Very hard to get hot for a sustained period against either. And although Nebraska got back into it in the second quarter, a question will be this. Did they give away the first quarter by starting Frazier? They have moved the ball much better with Behringer in there. Now here's what's ahead on the halftime.
Number 7, German, who is deep to receive the kick. Erstad boots it, and German will kick these two respective punt returners. Well, it's the powerful show that has the critics raving, viewers watching in record numbers. Tomorrow night, NBC will show you how it all began. ER, a special 2-hour movie event tomorrow at 8 Central here on NBC. German return. Nebraska narrowly averting a 4th turnover. Timeout, 12:07 left. Interception in the end zone, and he's on the sideline as the Cornhuskers take over once again. The starter, Tommy Frazier, who was ineffective, is back on the field. This is turning into a movie. Option, sack. Throws Frazier for a 6-yard loss. The villain if you're Nebraska. Cannot block him. Cannot block him. He lines up in the gap. He's too quick. They try to block down. They try to lead. The center forgot to come over and help. And that was, I mean, you got to at least try to get a hand on him somehow. There has never been a tie. And you notice how young Tom Osborne looked in that initial shot. A few of those wrinkles created by those lost opportunities in the Orange Bowl. And we repeat. Ladies and gentlemen, that ends the 61st FedEx Orange Bowl. Final score, Nebraska 24, Miami 17. Let's go to John Dockery with the national champion coach, Tom Osborne.
You finally got it after a long time. Coach, you finally got it after a long time coming. What does it mean to you?
Well, it means a lot. I'm really proud of the players. Played a great game, a lot of heart.
You've come close. Coach, you've come close many times. Is it all more sweeter now?
Well, it's enjoyable. Let's put it that way.
Did you somehow feel that this was your year coming into the game?
Well, I thought in the fourth quarter we'd be the best team, and we were. That's great.
What was the difference then?
Well, I mean, just we're probably in good condition, maybe a little stronger physically in the fourth quarter. Miami has a great team. I got to get in.
Congratulations, Coach. A terrific victory.
Thank you.
Tommy, back to you.
Okay, John. Tom Osborne, vintage Tom Osborne, gracious in victory as he always has been in defeat. Nebraska earns a national championship with a tough win over Miami in the Orange Bowl. Final score 24-17. Bob Costas.
All right, Tom and Chris and John Dockery. And a thought here about Joe Paterno and what must be going through his mind as he watches tonight's game unfold in Pasadena. He has won national titles, of course, before with the Nittany Lions, but 3 times before he has gone through a season undefeated and yet uncrowned as national champion. And in the absence of a playoff system, it will happen again. Even if they beat Oregon as expected tomorrow in the Rose Bowl, they'll wind up number 2 because it has finally happened for Nebraska. In another marvelous and memorable contest at the Orange Bowl, they've finally done it. 3 times now, Nebraska coach Tom Osborne has brought an unbeaten, untied, number 1 ranked team to this game. Again, his reputation for losing here ringing in his ears. Now he's trying to get the water out of his ears. He has borne all of it through the years with a dignified, self-effacing manner, and now his great coaching resume is complete. While those of us in network television aren't supposed to root, I think we can allow ourselves a chance to smile and some words of appreciation for a man who has studiously avoided self-aggrandizement in an age all too devoted to style over substance. As we leave you now, Try to imagine what it must be like right now in Nebraska, where there are no major professional sports teams and no other major university within its borders. And in Lincoln now, and all across the Nebraska plains, this first national title in a generation is a wonderful way to start this new year and a wonderful and crowning moment in the career of Tom Osborne. Nebraska national champs, 24-17. Now stay tuned for your local news, except on the West Coast, where it will be seen at its regular time. A reminder, join us tomorrow on NBC Sports for more bowl action. It starts at 1 o'clock Eastern with the Mobile Cotton Bowl, USC at Texas Tech. Then at 4:30 Eastern, the IBM OS2 Fiesta Bowl with the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame against Colorado and Heisman Trophy winner Rashaan Salaam. That's all tomorrow here on NBC Sports. Again, for Tom Hammond, Chris Collinsworth, John Dockery, and all the men and women who put in their efforts tonight at the Orange Bowl in Miami. The Nebraska Cornhuskers are the national champs, and for all of us at NBC Sports, so long from the Orange Bowl. In a new world, a new standard of excellence, NBC Sports.
Monday, the movie that launched the best new